This launches season 3 of the Fearless Beauties podcast. We started 3 years ago with Taylor, who is Taylor is the social media coordinator for Fearless Beauty, so any of the things that you see posted originate from her, because she's brilliant, and we have worked together, me in the Pacific Northwest, her in Florida, for these 3 years, and probably even 4 years when Fearless Beauties first got started. So Fearless Beauties started originally, I'm gonna let these guys tell that story, but at a point where we could see that aesthetic education was failing, they were not treating the needs of skin of color. We've since expanded, and the new book talks about treating your client who has Down syndrome or your client who is in a wheelchair, because we want to create a greater sense of inclusivity and not just sort of the European version of beauty. We really want to embrace all cultures, all ethnicities, and just all people in our community that are often marginalized. So we started the podcast, and I don't remember how that actually got going, but maybe you do. And we had guests on the podcast, and I met Ralph through being a guest, and I don't know how I came upon Ralph, seriously, but I reached out to him, and he's just was such a charismatic person, and I think that his story of how he has grown his business in North Carolina, where he has his own skincare line, and the massage oil that you have in your student kits is from Ralph. Ralph's line. So, but our podcast has grown, and it's just grown organically. It isn't anything that, I mean, we do the podcast, but there's been no sponsors or no paid promotion of it, but we have almost 15,000 downloads just organically. The majority of Oregon, Washington, we have some even internationally. And so I think it just shows that the message that we are bringing forward is an important one in the beauty industry. And so today, this team, Megan's going to be recording this because this is going to go out onto the newly launched Fearless Beauties YouTube channel, and it will be the launch of the season 3. And then when the podcast is finished, we'll have a bit of a break, and Taylor and Ralph will tell more of their story. So thank you all for being here today, because I think it's a big day.
So I guess we are launching season 3, episode 1 of the Fearless Beauties podcast. My name is Taylor, also known as Taylor Budgets.
Oh, me. So y'all, I'm Ralph, Ralph Cole, officially known as Skin with Ralph Cole. I'm a master esthetician and also a barber as well too.
And I'm your co-host, Alina Velez. I teach here at Spectrum Advanced Aesthetics, and so happy you guys are here.
And I am Beatrice, also known as B. I teach here at Spectrum Advanced Aesthetics, as well as I have Beauty by B LLC and Glow by B Skincare. So I'm excited to be here with you guys today.
Perfect. I didn't even give my little spiel, but Taylor Budgets, of course. I guess if Mary were to tell you I'm the budget expert, so I basically focus on low-income budgeting for small businesses, and just created my brand pretty much organically, and I just found a need in the community, so I'm excited to tell y'all a little bit about it today. But I guess we can get started today just on how we all started in the aesthetic industry. Me, I'm not an esthetician, but I'll talk about budgeting, and we can go from there.
Yeah, I'm really excited to hear Ralph Cole's story, so will you kick us off?
Sure. I will say ladies first, but yeah.
The only man in the room.
Exactly.
Yeah, take charge.
All right, so my story actually starts from when I was a kid. Coming home, my mom, she worked double shifts at the hospital, but on the side, she used to come home and do hair for extra income. So for me, I got stationed actually in Tacoma. I'm from North Carolina originally. Country boy, small city. Got stationed in Tacoma, north of here. Was in the military, one day in the barracks, I just needed some extra money. So started cutting hair there in my barracks room. I never messed no one's head up, but I could always do better. Okay, I'll say that. But it was one day too, I saw that I was getting kind of good, so wanted to go to barber school and get my license so that I can cut on the weekends. So went and did that. When I got into barber school, my barber instructor actually took me down to LA to like this huge like underground barber convention and everything, right? There I met some amazing barbers. I met Tupac and Biggie barber. I met barbers that travel all over the world, cutting hair on stage. Stop. And many more. You know, they do a lot of amazing things. And set a vision board for myself. I'm not going into too much detail because it's
Things on the way.
Things on the way.
Yeah.
Not just that, but telling my story later too. But got into my career, and it got to a point to where I wanted to make a more exclusive experience for my clients. Mm-hmm. So wanted to go back to school to become an esthetician, but also too, once I did get into the industry and the program, I saw that there was a stigma attached to men specifically in the skincare industry, to where, you know, if you're a man that's doing skincare, people automatically assume that you're gay, you know, and it's nothing wrong with that, but just as soon as people say it and people automatically assume that, that's not cool, you know? So with me being a straight, you know, masculine heterosexual male that's also black with locks and a beard, I don't look like the stereotypical, you know, everyday guy. Yeah. So me becoming an esthetician, you know, I wanted to come off and, you know, help guys to learn more about different services that we can get and just introduce the world to other opportunities. Yeah.
So awesome.
Love that.
Thank you.
Great. So awesome.
Thank you. I do good.
You did great. You did great. Yeah, okay. I guess I'm next. And I've never actually shared my story, like, publicly, so I'm a little nervous but excited. So for me, it goes back about 12 years ago. And it runs deep because I feel like I left behind a life that I thought that I wanted, to really elevate to my true calling of aesthetics and teaching aesthetics and being a healer, honestly. But for me, my first love was basketball. So I grew up playing really competitive basketball my whole life, really until I graduated high school. Graduated high school, went to get my basic aesthetic license, and just that period of my life, I felt like I was just infatuated with the wrong things, and just wanted to live a fast lifestyle, and so I truly was just kind of lost in the sauce.
You're lost in the sauce.
And I just realized I'm not about that life, and so that was kind of my first awakening, I guess you could say, and I just remember thinking back, like, I'm worth so much more than this. And so I started applying for cosmetic jobs, and I ended up getting hired on as an on-call, like, beauty clerk, basically. And I spent the next, like, 5 years of my life kind of working up the retail ladder, and ended up becoming a business manager for one of the cosmetic counters, and I grew that business. And it was something I was really proud of. And I feel like that's where I got closer to my purpose. And I loved that I was bringing people joy through skincare and makeup, and but I still felt like I'm worth so much more than this. So fast forward, I went back to school. I went to Spectrum Advanced Aesthetics, and I got my advanced certification. I graduated. I moved away for a couple years from my hometown and worked for a couple med spas, started my own business, and then things really just kind of came full circle when Mary offered me the teaching position here, because I just felt like all the trials and tribulations in my life, the good and the bad, it all transferred over to who I am and where I am today. And so, for example, I brought up basketball in the beginning because I felt like those were kind of my first lessons in life with being disciplined and being a good leader. I felt like being lost in the sauce taught me who I'm not and what I stand for. I felt like when I started managing the cosmetic counter, it taught me, how to build a clientele and numbers. And then meeting Mary while attending Spectrum, she really taught me that we do need to use our voices to elevate this industry. And she also taught me that my gifts are valuable to others. So here I am.
Shut me up over here.
I know.
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Sure. I could go. If you want. Okay, so of course I'm not an esthetician, so I guess I can just tell my journey from how I started in the budgeting industry. But I had my beautiful daughter 2019, and at that time, before I had her, I quit my job. I moved out of state, just kind of to start a family with me, her, and her dad. That didn't work out, obviously. So I came back home, and I didn't have a job. I was like, I just had a baby. I think she was less than a month old, and I was in the kitchen, and I remember telling my mom, like, Mom, I need money. Like, your girl got bills. Things need to be paid. And I remember she reached out to me. She said, your dad told me about this lady who needs someone to help her with social media. And I was like, okay, I don't know anything about social media, but sure, I'll meet her. And I remember my dad gave, I think, Mary my email. She emailed me like the same day, offered me the job the same day. And I remember being in my kitchen like clapping like, yes! Because I was like, I have a job. I get to work from home, take care of my daughter. And it was truly a blessing without crying. Like, Mary has truly just been just amazing in my life. But I've been working for her Mary's already crying. I've been working.
I couldn't post a thing. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, and so yeah, Mary didn't know diddly squat about social media. For me, I was like, I don't know anything, but just the confidence someone has in you, it's like truly empowering. So I just started doing her social media, not knowing what I was doing, but I kept doing it, and it was just a blessing to have that income. Just as a single mom, like, I could just take care of my daughter. So then, that was in 2019. 2020.
But you captured Fearless Beauty's voice.
Thank you.
You captured the message.
Thank you.
So,
I captured the message. So yeah, I think, so that was in 2019. And of course, 2020 hit, and the big pandemic. So grateful to still have a job, like, period, spreading this message. And so 2020 happened, and all throughout that year, just as a single mom and like not knowing, there was just something missing in my life. And I was like, what is missing? And I realized it was not knowing how to manage my money, because I was like, one day I want to move out. One day I just want to take care of me and my daughter, like, on my own. I was talking to a friend of mine, and I was like, I really just want to start out 2021, like, in my bag, like, just knowing what I'm doing with my money. Mm-hmm. And she was like, have you heard of the Budget Mom? And I was like, no. Have any of you heard of the Budget Mom? Oh my gosh. Okay, she will change your life. Mm-hmm. But I heard she told me about the Budget Mom, and I binge watched all of her videos on YouTube, and it just it just changed my life. She taught me about budgeting, low income budgeting, how to save, pay off debt, how to still live your life and not, because I feel like there's a stigma around budgeting, like it's restrictive. Like once you budget, you can't have any fun. You can't go on vacations. You can't go on a shopping spree. You can't do anything because you're budgeting, but that's just far from the truth. So I started learning how to budget on YouTube. I just watched all the videos and then I said, you know what? Let me create a YouTube channel to hold me accountable, not to even inspire and motivate others, but like if I post a video saying I'm gonna pay off debt and I don't do it, people are gonna be like, girl, what you doing? You said you're gonna pay off debt and we don't see any debt being paid off. So, but before that, I started a cleaning channel on YouTube. Like, so I was cleaning my house, like lifestyle content with me and my daughter. It was cool, but it just wasn't a passion of mine. Like I didn't have any joy doing that. So started my budgeting channel February of 2021. And I think within a month or two, I was monetized, which means you start making money off of YouTube, another stream of income. And I was like,
Yes.
get it. I was so happy. And then, yeah, I just kept growing from there. And just, I think I went from 500-600 subscribers to like 50,000 in like a few months. And truly couldn't even tell you how that happened except for just blessings on blessings and grace and just like staying consistent, staying in my lane, which I'll talk about later, but like not comparing yourself to no one and truly knowing what your passion is and going for it. And also having people in your circle that believe in you and trust in you, because not coming from an esthetician background, I was like, oh, I don't know how, honestly, I don't even think I ever told Mary this, but I was like, I don't know how Mary's gonna feel with me starting something completely different than aesthetics. But she's like, you know, go for it, do your thing. And I just truly, truly appreciate Mary for allowing me to branch out on my own, but still represent Fearless Beauties in the way that I do and bringing like a sector to Fearless Beauties that I think is needed. So
Yeah.
Other than that, yeah, that's just how I started into the budgeting community, and that's why I'm here today, to teach y'all how to budget, because we need it. Okay?
Yes, we do.
Yeah. Definitely.
I wish I had you 20 years ago, because I just started it probably about 8 years ago, and I always tell my students that, you know, if I knew had these tools earlier, my life would have been a little bit easier. Not a lot, because I'm a hustler, so it wouldn't be very much of a difference, right? But what great stories. You guys are all making me choke up here, but one thing that like kind of circles back and talks about Mary, and you know, I'll start my story kind of in the halfway point of my career is, you know, I met Mary 5 years ago, and that's how Fearless Beauties kind of started in my journey as an educator with her. And we started about 4 years ago, and as she mentioned, you know, we felt that there was a gap in education. Mary and I went to school, I hate to say this, but you know, Mary over 20, me about 20 years ago, and we talked about our education 20 years ago and the education that's still currently happening in our industry, and we're like, something has to change, something has to stop, and how can we change, and how can we open people's eyes to see that there is a gap, because it's always been kind of a quiet hush conversation, like kind of slid under the table, that like, you know, like on one of the textbooks there's a beautiful black girl on it, but there's nothing on treating skin of color in that book. And so that was something that we started a group. It was not as a beautiful name as Fearless Beauties, but we started out as multicultural group where we were creating curriculum for the school. So that was the biggest thing, how Fearless originated. Mary's like, you know, our school is growing. We want to try to create this inclusivity. How can we do it? So let's just think of ideas. We called Alina. There's other students, estheticians, educators that kind of came to the table, and we just brainstormed ideas of how we can bring more topics into our school. So it really just started off with like, how do we build curriculum for Spectrum? And then it evolved, right, to us traveling the country. And so I've just been so blessed that pre-pandemic that we traveled the country from trade show to tell our story on how to treat skin of color, because it's not talked about. Because not, as we know as estheticians, some of us hear that not all skin is treated the same. That not all dry skin, not normal skin, acne skin, like not all skin is the same, and that different skin types, you have to look at it a little bit different. That you can't treat all skin, and so that's where we found that there was such a need. So when we went to San Francisco, to Atlanta, to California, New York, like that, Vegas, like we just created this community, and we call it our SD sisters and brothers in our world. And until this day, even though the pandemic hit, we still keep in touch with. It's just so fun to be able to see people continue to grow and see people really share that inclusivity, and seeing it more in the magazines and in the tros. That after we kind of moved the needle, right, Mary, that like everyone started to follow, and they started to bring more awareness, and that we saw more people color representing. Because I feel that, as an Asian American woman, we are underrepresented, and so now like seeing that there's more voices to be able to move the needle, and as we have more students who are more diverse, like we talk about them being the future of aesthetics, and we talk about how we're not going to be here forever, and we want to be able to embody that. So that's kind of like been really exciting for Fearless Beauties. And so for me, my story goes, as I mentioned, 20 years ago that I went to school. And I really always love aesthetics, and I am the oldest of three, and my parents owned a business, and in my family, everyone is a pharmacist, a dentist, a doctor, and that was kind of the path that my family also wanted me to go along. Traditional college and become a pharmacist was ideal for my parents. But I really did want to do medical. I went to a high school in Portland called Benson High School, and I was in the health program, and so I was always embodied that health concept of wanting to do something in the health field. So I did go to college and go into biochemistry as well as business, and wanted to be a doctor, but then I stumbled upon medical aesthetics when I was in my early young adult years, and I was a receptionist there, and then became an esthetician in medical spa. And from there, I kind of, like as Alina was saying, moving up the ladder, I thought that moving up was where you wanted to go, but I just didn't find fulfillment in those 6 years, and I just felt like I was still missing something. I was making really good money during that time, and being a 19, 20-year-old, that was a lot of money. And I just still didn't fulfill. I was stressed out every day, managing people. I became a trainer. And so then I kind of shift gears. I was in the Pearl in downtown Portland, and this big banner was saying Aveda Institute enrolling now. And so I was like, maybe that's my calling. Maybe I want to go into education to make change. I really like training. I really like helping people find their purpose. And that was one thing that through my years that I met students who were like, you helped me find your purpose. And so that's where education came, and I found the love of education, and I'm going on 15 years in education. And next month will be 15 years. And along that path, I met Mary as Oregon grandfathered medical aesthetics. And that was kind of full circle. And I went from bringing a holistic aesthetics into advanced aesthetics and kind of intertwining both together. And in my 5 years with Mary, I've grown so much, like being able to help her with Fearless Beauties, the start of it, creating my Beauty by B, my side hustle, as I mentioned, like hustling it. And also along the path during the pandemic, created a skincare line, and being here full time at Spectrum. And, I think everybody on this panel, we talked about Mary, who is, she calls her the SD godmother, and she truly is a godmother. I think like her believing in every single one of us and letting us find our strengths and our dreams, and help being that person to push us to our fullest capacity, and never telling us it was wrong. Even if it wasn't a part of her business, she still wanted us to grow. And I think that's how I, like, every day I come to work, I feel so blessed, feel so grateful and humbled to be a part of her team.
Oh gosh. I can't.
Because honestly, going from corporate
Right.
world to small
Yeah.
business to being here, like I've had so many managers, so many bosses,
Yeah.
so many owners, and Mary doesn't just see you as an employee, but she sees you as as a human, as a daughter, as a sister, and all she has love for you as an individual, as a team, and she's always been your cheerleader and just pushing you forward to get to where you want to be. And sometimes we don't know where we want to be, and so she always creates these opportunities for us to just go, and you just you never know. And she comes to you and is like, okay, you never know what's going to take you. You just say yes, and then a door opens.
Yeah.
And I think that's where Fearless Beauty happened, is that she opened the door for the industry, and now here we are 4 years later.
Right.
So the title of this podcast should be like honoring Mary.
Yeah.
I think so.
I don't want to.
I know. I know you
back
don't.
off of Fearless, be not the face of Fearless Beauties, because, right, you're the future of aesthetics. You're the faces. You're the people that have to change the industry and make it more inclusive, and I think that change is happening. I think that really is happening, and I do think that Fearless Beauties has had an impact in that. But I also think companies are becoming more aware that they're losing discretionary income. There's revenue out there to come to them, right? That exchange of energy from everybody, not just a certain segment of our culture that they've only been marketing to.
Absolutely.
Can I do my story over since y'all just threw me out to the wolves? I ain't know. No, just y'all doing.
No, you were great.
I just want to say that, like, y'all three are amazing, and I'm honored to be sitting up here with y'all three. I know this ain't the end of the podcast, but I just want to throw that out there.
Same.
Mary, I just want to say that you've like. I just want to say that you came through, like, at special moments. I'll say that.
I'm just going to give
This is my cancer moment.
this is my Once upon a time, I had a daughter who told me not everyone sees the world through your lens. And that opened my eyes to the privilege that I have as a white woman. And that really was profound for me to get that. And granted, I said I'm a late bloomer, I got it kind of late, but it also makes me feel an important value in my life is because I have that privilege, I need to share the abundance that I have been given through I was born here in the United States, a white woman. I could have been born anywhere else, but I was born here, and I think I have that obligation to share the abundance that I have so that all of us can have an equal playing field. We have to have that equality. So, okay, I'm talking.
Yeah, well, like B said, I didn't know that I needed this podcast, but Mary saw something in me, and and I do feel a responsibility now that I have the baton and I have the microphone to explore untouched grounds, excuse me, but it's just. This is my first time meeting Taylor in person, by the way. She lives in Florida. We've been doing podcasts. There's a time difference. I mean, so it's just I'm able to connect with people, all over the world. You guys are one in a million, and we get to, push the needle forward and do what we do best and collaborate, and I love it.
I think, sorry. Wanna go? I think one thing I love about Fearless Beauties is how unapologetically we are. When I first started the podcast, I was like, okay, let me be this sweet, like, chill it out, like, calm down, like, don't say too much or do too much. But then, like, Mary will do the podcast and she'd be like, I have white privilege and this is not right and we need to start doing better. And I'm like, okay, so this is where we at. Like, this is where we at. So she has taught me that there's growth in the uncomfortability. And you kind of have to get out of that and speak your truth and say things that people aren't saying.
It's
in
true.
This industry. Like,
Well, and we had, sorry to interrupt, but we had Mary brought in Tosh Baker and she presented and said so many amazing things. And one thing that stuck with me that she said was that you have to choose. Like, you have to choose and stand in your truth, and it's not everybody's going to like it. Yeah. But it's yours and it's your truth, and you do have to choose.
Yeah.
And I've myself too. I came into it kind of soft, and I don't want to step on anybody's toes, but it's like, dang it,
step on toes. Like, step on toes.
So yeah.
I'll say that from. I'm sorry. Was you?
No, go ahead.
From the episode that I did, there was a couple of guys that actually reached out to me that was interested in. They told me that they actually been wanting to become an esthetician and everything, and like since they saw like another male is in the industry and everything, like thanks to Fearless Beauty podcast and everything, like they joined schools and graduated since.
Wow,
so
that's amazing.
All thanks to you, Mary.
Yeah, and I think that's it. The beauty of Fearless Beauties, right?
Yeah.
Is it's always connecting, always sharing, inspiring. That's our goal, is to inspire people to, and show them that that the possibility in this industry is there. Because very similar to like as an Asian American woman, like and a lot of the culture is like like I mentioned earlier, a doctor, a lawyer, a surgeon, and so I've had a couple Asian American women reach out to me as well, and it's like, why I'm so hesitant. Like, is there money? Is there, my family doesn't want me to go to school, and I think it's not just Asian, but I think it's our culture in general is that as a beautician or cosmetologist, like there is no money in this industry, but there's so much money. Like Mary says, like there's bad skin for everybody, right? And so I think that's where this community where we're here to show people that you don't have to move up a ladder, and that's something that I learned like really late in my career, is that you can just keep on moving forward and have that abundance in your life. And you don't have to move up a corporate ladder to do that.
Yes.
And then find joy and happiness. And I think that's the biggest thing. It's like, but no matter where you are, that money will come as long as you have joy and happiness in your life.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. And having a vision of where you want to go too. I didn't know how much detail about stories that we was gonna go into, but y'all did it. So just a quick story. When I was in barber school, I actually did a vision board for where it was that I wanted to do and achieve in the industry. And on my vision board, I put 5 goals. And those 5 goals was opportunities that people within the industry usually don't get until they're like 15, 20 years in. But for me, being a brand new student and everything, I said, you know what, before I even graduate, I'm gonna go ahead and work on my brand. I'm gonna go ahead and work on, my experience. I'm gonna go ahead and work on what is gonna set me apart from every other barber. And also too, I'm gonna put up there that I wanna be featured in magazines. I'm gonna put up there that I wanna cut celebrities. I wanna travel the world through barbering. I wanna have my own products. I wanna do this and everything. And when I showed my vision board to people in the industry, they actually laughed at me and said, because I said I want to achieve all of this within my first 2.5, 3 years. And they said, Ralph, that's not gonna happen. They told me no, like laughed at my face and everything. And pretty much every single day, just like, Mary told me, just looking at it every single day, and this is something that I would recommend and encourage each of y'all to do. Make a vision board for yourself. And every single day that you wake up, just point at one and say, I'm gonna take a step toward that today. And everything. Within my first 2.5 years, I checked off every last thing on my vision board.
Period.
And everything. So, yeah. So, and I say that to say, make one. Don't just make it a yearly thing. Like actually make one, put it to where you're gonna see it every single day, and don't make another one till you hit every single thing on that one, no matter how big the scale is. If you say that you want to be featured in the magazine, it doesn't have to be Vogue or what's another one? Yeah,
Cosmopolitan.
there you go. But
Vision boards are real.
they are weird.
I
They
can
are weird.
attest to it too.
Yeah. And make it cute too. Make it cute. You know what I'm saying? Make it
Put
cute.
up some magazines. Yeah. Put up some influential words that you want to live by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually,
it's real life.
And actually live by it. You know, you know you better than anyone else knows you. So you know your flaws and everything. You know what it takes to motivate you. You know the words that you need to hear in order to take you to that next level and everything. Y'all done got me hyped up now. But I would say that, you know, you have to believe in yourself. And also too, if you're at a point in life to where you feel that you don't have that encouragement or you don't have that motivation or that drive to go get to that next level, or you may feel like you're off path and you don't really know where you want to go, it's okay. It is okay. Come to events like this, reach out and talk to people, ask for help. Ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask for help. That's the no pun intended, that's the most beautiful thing. You gotta be fearless. Be a fearless beauty.
Yep.
You see what I did? You see what I did? But don't be afraid to ask for help. You know, once you get to that point to where you're okay with asking for help, you're gonna see doors continue to open up. You're gonna see things happening. You're gonna start seeing yourself around people with the same vision as yourself and everything. So that's my 2 cents. That's it.
Yeah,
So good.
Just to piggyback, because I was just thinking that, like the sense of community that Fearless Beauties has built, and also just manifesting, praying for right connections in your life. Like just going on this tour in Spectrum, like I can tell that you all are a family, and even after your time here, y'all will have this family. Mary, just gravitate towards people who want to see you win. Not just you, but you want to see them win as well. And Ralph and I were talking about that last night, and we were saying that if you have a goal for your future, like something as big, like my goal, I really want to see myself in Target, like one of those Black-owned brands in Target that's producing stationery and budgeting items. And that's just, and I want to also open like my own storefront for stationery and budgeting, and I think it would be dope to see a Black woman behind that counter. I don't see that often, but it's also, you have to put yourself around people who see that vision for you as well. And there's people in your life, family and friends, who will say, oh, how are you gonna do that? Or just putting all this doubt into your life. We don't need that energy. So sometimes you just have to leave those people behind, honey. And they family and they friends. And period. Like, it's the truth. It's the truth. I do that too. I swear. Yes. But
Did I do it right? Okay.
just what I was gonna say is, if they don't see your vision, like you can just unapologetically and respectfully say, you don't see it, but I see it.
Yeah.
And don't put what you don't see into my area. You stay over there and watch me win. And they'll watch you come up, and then watch them be like, okay, hey man, I didn't know you were gonna do all this. Is there anything I can do to help? So
Happens all the time.
You getting personal.
no, it is
Personal.
It
It is personal.
It is, and you just have to do you. Put yourself around people who love, respect, support you when you're down, because you will have those down moments, and I'm pretty sure all of you want to at least start your own aesthetic situations. I'm like you have to surround yourself with people who love you, and when you don't see your vision, that they see it, and that they can remind you, like, remember, this is where you want to be. Like, what can I do to help? You know, and reciprocating that. So.
Yeah.
It's so important.
Just think kind thoughts to yourself.
Yeah.
It's so easy to fill your mind with doubt. And then next thing you know, you're just, kind of lost in the sauce. And, it can be a lonely journey, or it cannot if you choose to come to events like this and get connected with the right people, right? But there are going to be lonely times,
Right.
and in those times, be strong in your vision board, be strong with the thoughts that you tell yourself, and be true to you. That's kind of my thing.
Can I say something about your sauce?
Yeah.
All right. So y'all know Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
So me, I'm a perspective guy. Like perspective and mindset controls everything, no matter what it is, right? I heard, and I'm gonna get to your sauce at the end of it. I just
Gotta build it up.
I got to build it up.
All right.
So Kobe Bryant, been watching this guy for years. I'm not a basketball person, no pun intended. I'm a wrestler, so
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
I heard him say, like, how often people say, don't put all your eggs in one basket,
Right.
right?
Mhm. Right, yeah.
We've all heard that, right? Kobe Bryant, with his mindset, said, not only put your eggs in the basket, and once the basket is full, go get some more eggs and go get another basket. That's the first time I ever heard that, right? But just to be able to understand, like, try not to make excuses for anything. You know what I'm saying? And we're all gonna get to that point to where we feel like, I can't do this because, you know what I'm saying? But, just get to the point to know that you can do it, whatever it is that it is. And I would love to be a part of it. You know what I'm saying? I would love to see each and every last one of y'all. I would love to see your locations. I want to see what your treatment rooms look like and everything. I would love for y'all to use my massage oil and everything. You know what I'm saying? Just
The sauce.
and whenever I was just about to get to it. So whenever you feel like you lost in the sauce, make some tortilla chips.
Oh God. Okay.
All right.
I just thought about that. I just thought about it, and
Oh my goodness.
Goodness. You can't get lost.
But one thing I do want to mention before I forget, because I think we're all striving to be entrepreneurs, and we all are, and we see the ups and downs of that. It's really important. Well, if you don't know, you don't, because I didn't tell you. But I'm actually a psychology grad student. I don't mention that a lot because honestly, I'm tired. And I'm tired of school. Like, I've been in this game for like 5 years trying to earn my master's. But I like to present like a psychological view to the podcast. But I say that to say this, like, when you're into entrepreneurship, it is so easy to compare yourself. So freaking easy to compare yourself. And I think that you will drown in that. And I think that's where the sense of community comes in, to where you're down and you have someone that says, "Girl, you a badass. What you doing?" Like, remember, like, who you are. So, especially with social media, like, it's just a show of hands. Does anyone compare themselves on a daily basis?
Today.
Yeah,
Okay,
for real.
on a daily
For
basis, and you start to get just really down on yourself and like, okay, maybe this is not what I'm supposed to be doing because this person has this amount of followers, and this person has whatever they have, and I'll probably talk about that later today. But just simply like, hashtags are not the answer. Analytics and metrics, not the answer. Coming from me, there's so many people in the budgeting community who have like hundreds of thousands of followers and all this stuff. But not to toot my own horn, even though I'm going to, there's no one in the community that has done like brand sponsorships internationally, done a budgeting masterclass, who's been flown out to speak on something. And it goes to show you that the numbers don't mean anything. Promise you. It's all about your passion for it. They'll see it. And taking breaks, resting. Resting is important, in entrepreneurship, it's not a grind, hustle, 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 sleep when you're dead type of thing. It's you have to listen to your body, you have to listen to your mind, and you have to mute certain people on social media. You have to unfollow certain people on social media that are making you feel this type of way. So just letting you know that comparison happens. It's a real thing, but just remembering who you are, knowing your worth, and seeking that help from other people, whether it's family, friends, peers. Like, I just need you, call them up and say, I just need you to remind me how dope I am real quick because I'm feeling this certain type of way. So, and you could always DM me and be like, Taylor, you don't know who I am, but I met you here and I just need some words of encouragement. I got you.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And we all do, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I think, like Taylor really nailed it. I think you just have to be your organic self, and people will come regardless of your numbers.
Yes.
And I think that's something that I learned along the way, too, is like I just like was posting really random reels this last couple of months, and people liked it, and because I was being a person that people didn't see before. So I think that's the biggest thing, is showing who you truly are and what you truly believe in, and you will attract the clients that you actually want to attract and the community that you want to attract.
Yep.
There is not another you. Nobody is the same in here, and that's so cool to me.
Yeah.
And I also just wanted to piggyback off of what Taylor was saying, but like finding your pace, like that's been my life. Yeah, that's been my life struggle, is just finding balance, finding harmony, and finding my pace between life and work and finding love and all the things, you know what I mean? So just find your pace in life.
Yes. Yeah. You hit the nail on the head with that one.
Love you guys. This is so good.
Real
So
quick,
fun.
before I just got one more story. I know I was gonna stop at the sauce. Just want to throw this in here real quick. I wanted to wait till our presentation and everything, but as a veteran, my first 2 months out, and here's another reason why I went into the industry that I went into for barbering prior to aesthetics. My first 2 months out of the military, August 2016, I was actually homeless. And it's a sad thing, not to get too political, but it's a sad thing that here in America, about 60% of the homeless population is veterans. And for me, luckily, barbering was the only thing I had to fall back on. Was at the shop every day, first one there, last one to leave. Client sitting in my chair, didn't know that I was homeless. Even the barbers that I was working with, no one knew. But with my clients coming to me, sitting in my chair, and talking to me about their problems, compared to me not having nowhere to go after this. You never know what someone else is going through.
Yeah.
So make sure that when it comes to your clients, when it comes to your classmates, when it comes to other people in the industry, make sure that you always take that time to encourage someone, because you never know what they're gonna go through. And just on this episode, I'm talking about it because this is something that's, real life and people go through things. Make sure that you take care of your mental health. Mental health is important. Last year, I transitioned my whole business from Seattle to North Carolina to be closer to my daughter. I got a 9-year-old future gymnastics Olympian. So y'all make sure she not in the Olympics yet, but she gonna get there. She know how to do a back bend. But make sure you take care of your mental health. And I don't want to have my cancer moment.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't think this podcast was, this episode was what we thought it was going to be. I think we lean more towards motivation and inspiration. But I guess we could open it up if anyone has any questions, like personal questions. anything about our journey, our stories.
Statements, comments.
Who got a theme song that they listen to every morning? Huh?
Theme song?
Yeah, what's your theme song? Huh?
What's your theme
Harry
song?
Styles, I don't
What's
even-
mine?
What's your theme song?
Oh, Love and Happiness. Al Green, all day.
Okay.
Okay.
All day. I'm old school. I'm old school.
I don't have one.
I
You ain't got
have
one?
either.
No.
Make sure y'all get a theme song and listen to it every morning to turn up. You know what I'm saying? I don't mean have a drink every morning. And then when you
Set the tone for the day.
set the tone,
Yeah,
motivate yourself, look
yeah.
yourself. How often do y'all look in the mirror and motivate yourself?
Yeah.
Like do y'all do that? Start doing it. Look at yourself in the mirror. I gotta be careful about saying this. It's okay to talk to yourself. Okay? It's
Yeah.
okay to be your own motivator. Like, look at yourself in the mirror and talk to yourself as if you're going to the perfect, like, conference or you're speaking to the perfect motivational speaker. You know what I'm saying? So once again, you know what it is that you need to hear. Look at yourself, and if you got a boogie in your nose, tell yourself, hey, make sure you get all that out. You know what I'm saying? But like little small stuff, like the little things is what builds up. You know, you can take care of the little things, and it's gonna turn into greatness, or you can allow the little things to tear you down.
Yep.
Okay, so it's really up to you. But what questions do y'all got for us?
If you have any. Yeah. Yeah.
I would like to ask, what would you say was your wisest investment? Investment could be monetary, or it could be time, or it could be energy.
That's a good question. Anyone want to go first?
Ladies go first.
Want you to repeat the question?
So she said, what was one of our wisest investments? Correct.
Yeah.
That's hard. My wisest, I made very many unwise monetary decisions. I would say, wow, that's a good question, Adriana.
I got mine.
You got yours? Okay.
Coming to Spectrum, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
I like that. Oh, that's a hard one. I think for like personally, therapy was a good investment for me because I'm big on doing things that make me uncomfortable. And therapy was one of those because I don't like talking to people that I don't know. But I think it's truly important, and it doesn't have to be a licensed therapist. It could be a friend, family member, one of us, and just getting it out. And I think it's someone who's not going to judge, someone who really doesn't know who you are, but just wants to listen to you. I think that was a good investment I made. But monetarily, I would say like my individual retirement account, because I'm trying to retire like now. So I think it's important to open up an individual retirement account. Even if you have a 401k, get another retirement account. And yeah, I think that's probably a good investment to make. Yeah, that's my answer.
I would say I'm very similar. I would say a couple of things was, I told you guys I wish I had Taylor earlier in my years to learn to budget. But I would say like my financial, like having a financial advisor. So like helping me work towards my retirement early. So as you guys have heard, a lot of you guys heard my journey. But like if my husband and I really wanted to retire, we could probably retire within the next 5 years if we wanted to. And so that's just like something
Flex.
about financial freedom and what that means. But I do love my job so much that can't. I told Mary if I ever left, she would have to like yank me out. And then I would say the second is also my marketing manager. Like I know nothing about marketing. I know nothing about SEOs and Google Analytics and any of that. So I recently hired a marketing manager and a social media manager to help me grow my skincare line.
That's dope. I would say my investment I would say transferring my business from from Seattle to North Carolina, which wasn't like, you can have a plan, but then once something happens to where it scrambles up your whole plan from top to bottom, literally from top to bottom, I would say getting my building, getting my brick and mortar in Durham. Got there January last year. Had no clue about, like, imagine you just up and throwing the dart at the map, and that's the city that you moved to. That's what happened to me. Like, when I got to North Carolina, I was sleeping on my cousin's couch, until I figured something out. I didn't know anyone. I didn't know what the market looked like. I didn't know anything, right? Got there in January, and I got my building in March.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a fast turnaround.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't a part of the plan. It was something that just fell in my lap. And the reason that I got it, I got the keys. Well, I went in there. It was nothing but green carpet. So imagine, like, you walking through here and seeing none of this stuff, and it's nothing but green carpet. That's what I was working with.
Nasty.
Right. But then I walked out, and I had a quick, like, split-second flash, and I seen a line lined up all the way to the parking lot, and it went away. I'm like, whoa, okay. Maybe this is meant for me to get this. Since I've been having it within this past year, I've learned so much about business that I didn't know. No one has ever even said anything to me about it. But if I would have never made that initial investment and take a chance on myself, so much stuff. Like, I got papers that's stacked up with, like, stuff that I learned and that I still need to apply. But if I would have never took that chance on myself, so much of this knowledge and experience I would never be able to get. Yeah. So I would say that's mine for me. And like she said, it's gonna be a lot of investments that you're gonna do you can be like, whoa, why'd I do that?
Right.
But that's life. Yeah. You learn from it, So yeah. Anyone else got a question?
Okay, since you're all big dreamers and go for your goals, I'd like to know where you'd like to see yourself in 5 or maybe 10 years.
Well, first of all, I love your hair. Let's start from there.
She's got great hair.
Yeah.
I guess I could go. Well, I have a daughter, so all of my dreams kind of center around her. But hopefully by the end of the year, I could purchase my first home.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. So scary. But I also, like I mentioned earlier, I want to see myself in Target. And I want a brick and mortar, and I want to have a stationery and budgeting business. And I want to travel the world and teach people how to budget and stuff. And it's crazy because I think Ralph was saying that it just fell into my lap. Entrepreneurship fell into my life. I was like, I want to be a corporate baddie. I want to work my 9 to 5, and I want to have my benefits and my vacations, and I like the stability of corporate life.
You said a corporate what?
Corporate baddie. Corporate baddie. Get dressed up. Jump in my whip, go to my job, and come home. That's what it was, because it was comfortable for me. And I didn't, like, the whole branching out on your own and being your own boss was just, like, so nerve-wracking. But entrepreneurship fell into my lap, and I think that's how I knew it was supposed to happen, because it was so uncomfortable. I was like, there's been many times where I'm like, no, I can't do this. But it's just something that needs to happen. Like, when you it's meant for you, when you just, like, trying to push it away anytime you can. So where was I getting at?
You're a corporate baddie.
Yeah, corporate baddie.
Well, I did want to open up my own private practice and counsel. So last year, I actually had, I think, like 10, 15 clients that I counseled, and I did that for like 5 months. But I learned that I did not like it. And I'm glad I did it, because that was my dream, open up my own private practice and be a psychologist. And I wanted to hopefully get my PsyD, like my doctorate, and help people with multiple personalities and bipolar disorder and things like that. But once I did counseling, I realized that I'm the type of person that I take everything home with me. Can't do that as a therapist. And that's actually why I went into therapy, because of counseling. I was like, okay, I think there's some things I need to work on. But I just knew that I couldn't do it. And it's meant for some people, not for me. So right now, what I plan to do is just to have it and to have it under my belt. And hopefully when I do these speaking engagements, I can offer some psychological help and therapy and things like that. So great question, but it's just crazy how you have a plan for your life and it just goes complete opposite. Like I have like $105,000 in student loans because of this dream I had, and then watch what happens and I go straight into something else. But it's cool. Yeah, great question. I don't have any plans for that degree right now. But yeah, thank you. And I hope I answered your question with the...
I see that most people, like with the 5-year goal, they underestimate what they can do. So it's interesting to see leaders in the industry answer this question.
Okay.
And so, I know for me, I would love to get a key to my city. And the reason why is I come from a excuse me, I come from a small like country town that doesn't have. It's growing now, but me growing up, we wasn't exposed to a lot of opportunities. Like for us, it was like military, college, or shipyard, or go work in the field. Like even me growing up, I used to work like at the cabbage field, like picking 100-pound bags of cabbage over my shoulder, putting it in the, you know what I'm saying, going home bloody knuckles and forearms about to bust open and everything. And it's people that's been doing that for 50 years because they don't have anything else. So for me, I would love to be in a position to where I can like take things, especially with all the experiences that I've had within my career, to go home and introduce it to, you know, like the kids, and introduce it to, you know, the people in my community, to say, hey, you know, you can do all of this stuff too. Whatever it is that you want to do, not only tell them that they can do it, but also be able to have something there to walk them through, to be like, hey, here's what you can do, and I'm going to help you with that.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to give, just provide the resources and everything.
It's going to be the plug.
I'm going to be the plug.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to be the plug and the socket. Yeah.
Well, for me, I definitely want to be a homeowner in the next 5 years, that's for sure, so I can relate, Taylor. I definitely want to sharpen my my teaching skills. I would love to have a published article. Like, B's always writing, super dope, dermoscope, features,
Okay.
That's goals for me. And just continue learning and sharpening myself just as a whole, and yeah.
I totally forgot. I didn't say anything about dermoscope. So 2020.
Are we supposed to? I didn't either.
Yeah, my bad. I actually won a favorite Master Esthetician Award for Dermoscope magazine 2020. Okay. And I was nominated for favorite esthetician for the Black Spa Awards too.
Yes.
So same year. So I don't know why I didn't think about that.
Well, I didn't
He just
either.
wanted to toot his own horn real quick.
Y'all the celebrities.
Oh, no. You're the celebrity with all your
He's the
stories and
massage
reels.
king.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I would say in the next 5 years, I definitely, as crazy as it sounds, I do want to scale down on my business. I am in the works of scaling Beauty by Bee down and slow down on services. And I know I've been saying this to Taylor for a while now, and it never happens. But just slowing, I think, you know, as some of you guys know, like, you know, I've lost my mom last year, and I lost my auntie, and I had a cousin who has who had stage 4 cancer, and then me coming from in remission of cancer, of just knowing that I need to slow down. And I'm at that point where I've like really listening to myself and my body that I need to take care of myself for me to be able to take care of everybody else. And, you know, and you have to fill your cup first to be able to continue to fill. And that's my passion. So 5 years, I definitely still want to be at Spectrum. 10 years, I hope to still be with Spectrum. 20 years. But, you know, really focusing on my glow line. That's why the marketing manager and the social media manager kind of came in this year to help me look at e-commerce and like really build my skincare line more virtually and more organic sales without my supporters here in Oregon and Washington. But, you know, really working on that aspect of my life of just being with my family, my friends, my work family, and taking care of myself.
I wanna move to Oregon and come to the Spectrum. I would.
Just move.
I know, and I'm moving back. I can't leave my baby.
Yeah.
All right.
You could franchise.
There you go.
I'm actually
I was
moving
hoping
here
I'd hear
too.
that out of you for the next 5
Okay, that would be amazing.
So I am with my building. I'm actually setting it up so that I can franchise it and everything. Yeah, that is something. So get out of my mind. I know, right? Yeah. Got so much volume. Yeah.
Okay, so this is it's going back to just kind of like the root of Fearless Beauties, I guess.
Mhm.
So I feel like you guys really hit on Fearless Beauties has really kind of moved the needle as far as inclusivity. Where would each of you like to see the conversation focus over the next few years as far as
Definitely, good question.
where you want to see that needle move even further? 'Cause I think everybody kind of has a different view on where they want it to go.
I would like to see. I would like to see more collaboration over competition.
Yeah.
That's what I would like to see. It's enough people in the world, i.e. clients, and it's enough money in the world for everybody to be able to share. You know what I'm saying? Like the beauty industry period is a billion-dollar industry.
Multi-billion.
You know, multi-billion-dollar industry. So even if all of us in here was to just get like 0.1% of that, we good. That's over 6 figures. So it's like, what's the point of us looking at each other as competition? That's why I would like to see it.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I think it'd be cool to like have a couple of people. Like I know in season 1, you guys like kind of like interviewed people. I wasn't on season 1, but I think it would be really cool to like have people from the industry in different places, in different roles, you know, behind the scenes, in front of the camera, creating skincare. I think it would be dope to hear from people themselves, a little bit more in the mix, I guess.
I would like to see like national conferences. Like Fearless Beauties takes Australia, or Fearless Beauties takes, and like let's build our brand, and like I would just like to just spread our brand awareness, and that's pretty much it. I just want to take us international, and also like I mentioned, like I'm not an esthetician. But I think it's important for everyone to learn how to manage their money if they want to become small business owners. I don't like to say small business, I like to say big business, but like big business owners, and just bringing some therapy in there. Like I think there's so many things that we can bring to Fearless Beauties, just like branching out to different things, like mental health, like Ralph said. Like we need like a whole board of directors. We need like someone in Europe and someone in India and
That's what I'm saying.
Just a different perspective
just
everywhere.
like
Jamaica.
Caribbeans, like just like everywhere.
Yeah.
Like I want the world to know who we are, because it's more than just skincare based. We talk about being a fearless beauty like inside. Right. So I think we need to expand more on that.
Yeah, I think to piggyback on that, being in education as long as I have, I think Mary's done a really good job on like getting into some schools, but that's like a handful of how many schools are there in this world, and that only a small little pie of it has gone to school. So I hope to continue to see it, to continues, losing my words right, this is where I say cancel, right? To see it in more schools across the world. So hoping that will continue to grow in education.
Great question.
Yeah, great question.
Great questions.
There is a hybrid program that I know of that you could probably get involved with if you want to become an esthetician.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I low-key think Mary would love that. Yeah. And speaking, I also would love to, like, I was talking to Mary about this in the car, but not to, like, put myself in Spectrum, but I would love to have, like, a curriculum based off of finance and budgeting. And once you leave here, you have all the knowledge, like what Mary was giving us a tour. Like, you have all the knowledge you need once you leave Spectrum. But do you know how to manage your money? Do you know what investments accounts, like what to invest in? Do you know credit card accounts and like checking savings? And do you know like how to manage your business if you want to do a brick and mortar? All that. So
Don't you think that's just massively missing everywhere?
it's
Everywhere.
You know, high
missing.
school kids are graduating not
Yes.
knowing how to manage money.
Right.
People go to college, you know, unless you're a finance major. I mean, it's like, it's such a huge
Right.
component of things, and it feels like it's missing from
Mhm.
every level of education.
Yeah. And
Just period.
Yeah. Mary was saying that like some people don't even know how to write a check, and I understand like checks are not a thing, but you need to know how to write a check. So just certain things like that. Like I know back in like my mom was telling me back in her days in school they had home economics where they taught you how to sew and write a check and cook, and like we don't know how to do that. So yeah, I would just love to people need to have financial literacy, and like even if you're going into marriages and building a family, like you need to learn how to manage your finances. Like 64% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. Why? That's not the lifestyle we want to live. So just offering more education, especially in communities of color, I think is important. Yeah.
Hi, so kind of backtracking on the whole budget thing. So I know that you spoke about, you know, doing like a board for yourself, and that like if you're doing something that you love, the money comes, but when you like get out of school and stuff, you know, you have that debt and you have just trying to transition into a job in your career and stuff like that. So how do you stay motivated when you're going through learning how to budget, learning finances, learning, you know, how do I start my big business? Trying to stay motivated through that because it's, you know, it gets scary, and then a lot of people I know get stuck in like, I just wanted to stay at my job because it's secure
Comfortable.
and it's safe.
Yeah.
Because I don't know any finances for budgeting to start my business. So staying motivated.
How to stay motivated.
I'm wondering if we should wrap
Say-
up the part of the podcast and then carry
Save
this
that.
conversation into the next presentation.
Okay, that would be dope. Yeah, we could do that because I have a lot to say about that. Okay.
I do too.
So,
Transition.
yeah.
That's a good segue.
So, well, I guess this podcast, I think, was very enlightening, empowering to not only me, but hopefully to all of you.
Yeah.
If you don't know about the Fearless Beauties podcast, we're on everywhere where you can get podcasts. Like I mentioned, we basically unapologetically tell you what you need to know and what needs to happen in the industry, not only industry, but in the world. You can follow me on Taylor Budgets, fearlessbeauties.com, on Instagram, Fearless Beauties. You want to plug?
You can follow me. I just said this one. Skin with Ralph Cole. The word skin, we all here for skin. With Ralph Cole.
And I am at True Skin Lab. This podcast is also going to be on YouTube. So I think we're going to have like podcast apps, and then we're also going to have stuff on YouTube moving forward. So that's really exciting.
And you can find me at Beauty by B PDX.
Perfect. Okay. And this podcast for people that love skin, and if you are a fearless beauty, then you are a fearless beauty. That's a shirt. That's a shirt.
Tune in.
That's a shirt. That's a shirt.